Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. I hope you all are well and doing great. So today I'm back with another video to continue our UCAT test preparation. As you guys know, we have started a decision making practice test questions and we are at the syllogism part. And we have completed our 28 questions of syllogism type of decision making. Now we're going to start it from question number 29 and then we will continue it with the next type of decision making. So without any delay, let's start our first question of this video. It says, all jinks are frunks, but not all frunks are jinks. Some of the frunks that are not jinks are zoobs, but no zoob is a jinx. So place yes if the conclusion does follow, place no if the conclusion does not follow. So the first conclusion says that there are more frunks than jinks. Second says a frunk that is not a jinx must be a zoob. Third says all zoobs are frunks. Some jinks are zoobs. And the last one says not all frunks are jinks or zoobs. So here we have our first conclusion. So let's see which one does follow and which one does not. First conclusion that says there are more frunks than jinks. It does follow, as all jinks are frunks and some zoobs are also frunks. There must be more frunks than jinx. So this is the reason we have, which explains that the first conclusion does follow the statement of the question. So that's why we will drag a yes and drop it here in front of the first conclusion. Next we have second conclusion, which says a frunk that is not a jinx must be a zoo. It does not follow, as bullet 2 says some of the frunks that are not jinx are zoobs, which means there must be some frunks that are neither jinx nor zoob. So it means second conclusion does not follow. So we have the no that we will drop here in front of this conclusion. All zoobs are frunks. It does not follow. As bullet 2 says, some frunks are zoobs, but there is nothing in the bullet to say that all zoobs are frunk. Some may not be. So again, the third conclusion does not follow. So we will drag a no and drop it here. Fourth conclusion, which says some jinx are zoobs, it does not follow, as bullet 2 says that no zoob is a jinx. Therefore, no jinx can be a zoob. So this one does not follow, and that's why again we will drop a no in front of this conclusion. Next we have the last conclusion of this question, which says not all frunks are jinx or zoobs. It does follow, as bullet 2 says that some of the frunks that are not jinx are zoobs. Therefore, there must be some trunks that are neither zoops nor jinx. So, the fifth conclusion, it does follow. So we will again drag a yes and drop it here. Drag a yes and drop it here. Next question, that is question number 30. It says all of the red flowers were roses except for a few of the poppies, most of which were yellow. The only other flowers were white, but most of the white flowers were neither roses nor poppies. So place yes if the conclusion does follow, and place no if the conclusion does not follow. So first we have none of the white flowers were roses or poppies. Then we have there were more yellow poppies than red or white poppies. The only red flowers were roses or poppies. All of the roses were red, and there were at least 3 different types of flowers. So here we have our first conclusion. It does not follow because bullet 2 says most of the white flowers were not roses or poppies, which implies that some of them were. So the first conclusion, that does not follow. So we will drag a no and drop it here. Drag it here and you can transfer it here. Now we have the second conclusion, which says that there were more yellow poppies than red or white poppies. It does follow because bullet 1 says most of the poppies were yellow. So that means the second conclusion does follow the statement. So we will drag a yes and drop it here in front of the second conclusion. Third conclusion says all of the red roses were red. It does follow because bullet 1 says all of the red flowers were roses except for a few of the poppies. So it does follow. It means we have to drag a yes and drop it here in front of this conclusion. So fourth conclusion says all of the roses were red, and this conclusion does not follow because there is no indication of whether there were any yellow roses, but bullet 2 implies that some of the white flowers were roses. So it means the fourth conclusion does not follow. So we will drag a no and drop it here. Fifth conclusion does follow because bullet 1 says there were roses and poppies, and bullet 2 says there were white flowers that were neither roses nor poppies. We are not told how many different types of flowers there were. So it means because of this reason, the fifth conclusion does follow the statement of the question. So we will drop a yes in front of it. All the flags were either red, green, or blue, and there were more red flags than green flags, but only half as many as blue. All of the red flags had green crosses, the green flags had blue crosses, and all of the blue flags had green crosses, except for a few that had red crosses. So place yes if the conclusion does follow, place no if the conclusion does not follow. There were more green crosses than blue crosses on flags. There were more blue flags with green crosses than green flags with blue crosses. There were more blue crosses than red flags with green crosses. There were more red crosses than green flags. And the last one we have is that there were more red flags than blue flags with red crosses. So the first conclusion that says there were more green crosses than blue crosses on the flags, it does follow because there were more red flags than green flags, which means there were more green crosses than blue crosses. So it does follow, and that's why we will drag a yes and drop it here. Next we have the second conclusion. It does follow because there were more than twice as many blue flags, all of which had blue crosses, as green flags, only some of which had blue crosses. So the second conclusion does follow. Again, we will drag a yes and drop it here. Third conclusion does not follow because all of the red flags had green crosses and the green flags had blue crosses. There were more red flags than green flags, so there were fewer blue crosses than red flags. This is the reason because of which the third conclusion does not follow, so we will drop the no in front of this conclusion. And the fourth conclusion that says there were more red crosses than green flags, it does not follow because although there were at least twice as many blue flags as green flags, only a few of the blue flags had red crosses. There is no information to say whether the few red crosses was greater or less than the number of green flags. So, because of this, again the fourth conclusion does not follow, so we will drop a no in front of it. The last conclusion, which says there were more red flags than blue flags with red crosses, it does follow because although there were twice as many blue flags as red flags, only a few blue flags had red crosses. So this fifth conclusion does follow And that's why we will drag a yes and drop it here in front of this conclusion. I had only 3 types of drinking glasses. There were twice as many sherry glasses as wine glasses, but not as many as the port glasses. All of the sherry glasses were pink and the wine glasses were clear. While most of the port glasses were clear, but a few were pink. So place yes if the conclusion does follow, and place no if the conclusion does not follow. There were more pink glasses than clear glasses. There were not as many wine glasses as there were port glasses. If I had a blue glass, it must have been a port glass. Most of the port glasses were neither pink nor clear. The total number of port glasses combined with the wine glasses was greater than the number of sherry glasses. So here we have our first conclusion, that there were more pink glasses than clear glasses. It does not follow because we are told that there were twice as many sherry glasses as wine glasses, and that some of the port glasses were clear while a few were pink. We know there were more port glasses than sherry glasses, but not know how many of them were clear, so we cannot be certain whether the conclusion follows. So that's why we can say that the first conclusion does not follow the statement. So we will drag a no and drop it here in the first conclusion. And next we have that there were not as many wine glasses as there were port glasses. And this conclusion does follow because there were twice as many sherry glasses as wine glasses, but not as many as port glasses. So there must have been more port glasses than wine glasses. So it means the second conclusion does follow, and that's why we will drag a yes and drop it here. Third conclusion that says if I had a blue glass, it must have been a port glass. It does follow because all of the sherry glasses, some of the remainder of port glasses were neither pink nor clear. Some of these may have been blue. So that's why we can say that the third conclusion does follow. So that's why we will drag a yes and drop it here in front of this third conclusion. Okay, you can drag it like this and then there. Fourth conclusion, which says that most of the port glasses were neither pink nor clear, does not follow because we are told that most of the port glasses were clear. So the fourth conclusion again does not follow. So we can say that we will drop a no in front of this conclusion. Now we have the last conclusion, which says the total number of port glasses combined with the wine classes was greater than the number of sherry classes. So it does follow because we are told that there were more port classes than sherry classes. So the addition of wine classes is irrelevant. So now we will drag a yes and drop it here in front of this conclusion, as this conclusion does follow the statement of the question. So now here we have completed our syllogism type of the decision making. All of the questions we have practiced. Now we're going to start from the logical puzzles, the second type of decision making practice questions. So first let's read some instructions for the logical puzzles, then we will continue it with some examples. You are required to use the information presented in order to arrive at a conclusion. There is only one correct answer for this question type. Information may be given in the form of text, tables, or other graphics. Click the next button to proceed. So here we have again 35 questions of this type. Now we are at the question number 1. Every year, Magical School has a school photograph taken. 8 teachers sit at the front in a row. Mr. Nunn sits fifth from the left with Mrs. Rourke and Mr. Percival on either side. Mr. Rowley sits as far away from Mrs. O'Rourke as possible. Mr. Stephen sits next to Mr. Percival. Miss Zenzer does not sit beside Mrs. O'Rourke or Miss Trollope. Mr. Warlock sits 3 seats away from Mr. Nunn. Okay, now we have this type of questions which called the logical puzzles, and now you have to complete this puzzle. So here we have a puzzle box, you can say, and they ask you a question and give 4 options. And the question was that which one of the following statements must be true. That is given down in the option. Option A, Miss Zenzer sits at the far left of the row. Option B, Mr. Stephen sits next to Mrs. O'Rourke. Option C, Mr. Warlock sits next to Mr. Percival. Option D, Miss Trollope sits at the far right of the row. We have these 4 options and we have to choose one correct statement. So we have the correct response is option A. So from the information given, we can deduce that from left to right, the teachers are sitting in this order: Miss Zenzer, Mr. Warlock, Miss Trollope, Miss O'Rourke, Mr. Nunn, Mr. Percival, Mr. Stephen, and Mr. Rowley. So that's why we have the option A is the correct option, that Miss Zenzer sits at the far left of the row. Option B is incorrect, because Mr. Stephen doesn't sit anywhere near Mrs. O'Rourke. Option C is incorrect, because Mr. Warlock doesn't sit anywhere near Mr. Percival. Option D is incorrect because Mr. Rowley sits on the far right of the photograph next to Mr. Stephen. So A is the answer, that Mrs. Sensor sits at the far left of the row. This statement must be true. Okay, now next question we have that I walk my dogs daily. Barker and Dainty have to walk alone. Boxer goes for an afternoon walk. Dainty is the only dog who has 2 walks each day. Boxer goes for an afternoon walk. Dainty is the only dog who has 2 walks each day. Rex always has his morning walk with another dog. So which one of the following must be true? Option A, Boxer is Rex's companion. Option B, Boxer has more than 2 walks a day. Option C, I have at least 5 dogs. Option D, each day I have to make a minimum of 6 walks with my dogs. So we have these 4 options and we have to tell that which one of them must be true. So here we have correct option is C. From the information given, we can deduce that following. Rex has his morning walk with another dog. But this cannot be Parker or Dainty as they have to walk alone. And it cannot be Boxer as he goes for an afternoon walk. So there must be one other dog that is Rex's companion on his morning walk. So this is the reason we have by which we can say that C is the answer that is correct. That I have at least 5 dogs. This is the correct option. Next we have, in a prize draw, 2 boys, Alice and Daniel, and 3 girls, Betty, Carol and Edna, each picked a prize: prom and doll set, roller skates, chemistry set, teddy bear and jigsaw puzzle. The prom and doll set was not picked out by a girl. Edna and Carol were disappointed when the roller blades were picked by one of the others. The chemistry set did not go to either Edna or Betty. Daniel was quite amused when he picked the giant teddy bear. So what gift did Edna pick? Option A, chemistry set. Option B, jigsaw puzzle. Option C, prom and doll set. Option D, teddy bear. So let's see which one is the gift that didn't Edna pick. So here we have the correct response is option B. From the information given, we can deduce that children picked the following gift: Alec, pram and doll set; Betty, roller blades; Carol, chemistry set; Daniel, teddy bear; and Edna, jigsaw puzzle. So B is the answer. That means Edna picked the jigsaw puzzle. So here we have the correct option is option B, jigsaw puzzle. W, X, Y and Z are playing football in the garden. One of them breaks a window by mistake. W says it was X and X says it was Y. Y says it was not me. Z says it was not me. Which one of the four must be lying? Option A, W. Option B, X. Option C, Y. And option D, Z. So correct response is option B. That from the information given, we can deduce that W is telling the truth, X is lying, and Y and Z are telling the truth. W cannot be lying as X or Y would also be lying. Y cannot be lying as W would also be lying. Z cannot be lying as X would also be lying. So B is the answer. That means X is lying. So we have a correct option is B, which means X must be lying. 4 people H, I, J, K are a doctor, a manager, a teacher, and a lecturer, not necessarily in that order. They each own a different type of vehicle. H is a doctor, J owns a sport car, K owns an electric car. The person who owns a motorbike is not the teacher. The manager polishes her scooter every weekend. So which one of the following must be true? Option A, K is a teacher. Option B, J is a teacher. Option C, I is a manager. Option D, K is a manager. So we have correct response is C, that from the information given we can deduce that I is the manager and owns a scooter, as we know that H is a doctor and J and K own cars that are not owned by the manager. So response A is incorrect because K could be the teacher, but they could equally be the lecturer. Response B is incorrect because J could be the teacher, but they could equally be the lecturer. Response D is incorrect because K owns an electric car and the manager has a scooter. So as we are looking for the response that must be true, we have to choose the response option that we are certain about. So C is the answer. That means I is a manager. This must be a true statement from the following options given. The next we have the three male media studies students, Daniel, Harry and William, and one female media studies student, Susan, were each given the same assignment to direct one movie about one planet. The movies were called A, B, C, and D. The planets in order of size, largest to smallest, were Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, and Mars. Movie C was directed by Harry, and movie D was not directed by Susan. Movie B was directed by a female and was about Jupiter. Movie A was not about the second largest planet and was not directed by William. Daniel did not direct the movie about Mars. And movie D was not about Saturn. Which of the following statement is true regarding the movie about Mars? Option A, it was movie D and it was directed by William. Option B, it was movie D and it was directed by Daniel. Option C, it was movie C, and it was directed by Harry. Next we have option D, that it was movie A and it was directed by William. So the correct response is option A, that from the information given, the following combinations can be worked out. Movie A, Daniel, and it was Venus. Movie B, Susan, and it is Jupiter. Movie C, it is Harry, Saturn. Movie D, by William, and it's Mars. We know that movie C was directed by Harry and movie B was directed by a female, which must be Susan. Movie A was not directed by William, so this means Daniel directed movie A and William directed movie D. Movie B was about Jupiter and movie A was not about the second largest planet, that is Saturn. nor was movie D. So movie C was about Saturn, and Daniel did not direct the movie about Mars. So movie A must have been about Venus. This means that movie D was about Mars. So A is the answer that says it was movie D and it was directed by William. So we have the correct option is A, that it was movie D and it was directed by William. This statement is true regarding the movie about Mars. Next we have that David, Henry, John and Sean were born in the same year. Their birthdays are in February, May, August and November, not in any order. And Bakery A has made them kiwi, chocolate, pineapple and strawberry birthdays cakes, not in any order again. So Sean was born before David. Henry was not born in either August or November. Henry did not eat the kiwi flavored cake that was served at his best friend's birthday. Sean bought a chocolate cake for his friend's birthday, which is celebrated in November. John's birthday was first and he bought his own birthday cake from Bakery A, and it was either pineapple or strawberry cake. So the question is that whose birthday cake flavor can definitely be identified? Option A, only John. Option B, only David. Option C, both David and Henry. Option D, both Sean and David. So here we have the correct response as option D. From the information given, we can deduce that John was born in February. John's birthday was first. Henry was born in May. He was not born in either August or November. Sean was born in August. Sean was born before David, meaning David must have been born in November. Using this, we can determine that David had a chocolate cake. Sean bought a chocolate cake for his friend's birthday in November. As John's cake was either pineapple or strawberry, and Henry didn't have a kiwi cake because it was served at his friend's birthday, then Sean must have had the kiwi cake in August. So here we have a table from which you can conclude your answer easily. You can understand it. February birthday, John have, and it have pineapple or strawberry cake. My birthday, Henry, pineapple or strawberry cake. August birthday, Sean, kiwi cake. And November birthday, David, chocolate cake. So D is the answer, both Sean and David. This is the right option we have. A youth orchestra of 39 members is drawn from 4 secondary schools: K, L, M, and N. Each school sends the same proportion of boys and girls to play in the orchestra as our own in its school roll. With 18 members in the orchestra, School L is twice the size of K, 3 times the size of M, and 3 times the size of N. N has many boys as K has girls, while M has equal girls and boys, and L has as many boys as K. So there are 6 girls from N in the orchestra. So how many of the 4 secondary schools are the same sex schools? Option A, none. Option B, 1. Option C, 2. And option D, 3. So correct response is option C. So from the information given, we know that there are 18 members from school L. So there must be 9 from school K. L is twice the size as K. 6 from school M, as L is 3 times the size of M. And 6 from school N, as L is 3 times the size of N. There are 6 girls from school N in the orchestra. So all the members must be girls from N. Therefore, K and N must be the same sex schools. School K, and first we have total number of pupils in orchestra, then we have separate number of boys and number of girls. So K is the school, and then 9 total. And then we have this table. Total we have 39. C is the answer, that is 2. So 2 is the number of schools that have same sex schools, that have both boys and girls. Clark, Sam, Drake, and Mary have 1 car each. The cars are either red, blue, or green in color. 3 cars are hatchbacks and the rest are saloons. All the saloons are green. Hatchbacks are either blue or red. Mary and Clark do not have hatchbacks. So amongst Sam, Drake, and Rosie, only Drake has a blue car. So which of the following statements is true? Option A, Rosie has a red saloon. Option B, there are 2 blue cars. Option C, there are 3 red cars. And option D, Sam has a red hatchback. So we have a correct response is option D. From the information given, we can deduce the following table and the information that is provided in it. First we have persons, and then type of cars and the color of the cars. Clark having a saloon of green color, Drake having a hatchback of blue color, Mary having a saloon of green color, and Rosie having a hatchback in red, Sam having a hatchback in red. So that's how you can conclude that correct option is D, that Sam has a red hatchback. This following statement is the true statement. 5 tourists from different countries: China, Italy, Germany, France, and America wore shirts and hats of different colors: blue, green, brown, yellow, and red. No two tourists wore hats and shirts of the same color. The French tourist wore a green shirt. Her hat was neither red nor blue. The American tourist wore a red shirt. So the Italian tourist wore a brown hat. The color of her shirt was the same as the color of the French tourist hat. Which of the following statements is true? Option A. The Italian tourist wore a red shirt. Option B. The American tourist wore a red hat. Option C. The American tourist wore a yellow hat. Option D. The Chinese tourist wore a blue or brown shirt. So here we have a correct option is option D. From the information given, we can deduce the following information that is given in the form of tables. First we have tourist, color of shirt, and then color of hat. American having red color shirt with blue, green, brown, or yellow colors of hat. Chinese having blue or brown color shirt and any color that is not the color of the shirt. French having green color of shirt and yellow hat color. German blue or brown shirt color and any color that is not the color of the shirt. Italian yellow and having a brown hat. So D is the answer, that the Chinese tourist wore a blue or brown shirt. So here we have a correct option is option D. This statement is true. A company is making repairs to electrical wiring, fresh water pipes, fiber optic cable, and sewage pipes. These repairs are being made in blocks A, B, C, or D, not in any order. And each of these blocks is situated in either the northern, southern, eastern, or western region. The electrical wiring problem is neither in block A nor in the western region. The sewage pipe problem is in block B and the fiber optic cable repair work is scheduled in the southern region. Block C is present in the eastern region while Block A is not present in the southern region. Which of the following combinations must be true? Option A, sewage work is happening in Block A, which is situated in the western region. Option B, fiber optic cable work is happening in Block D, which is situated in the southern region. Option C, electrical wiring work is happening in Block C, which is situated in the northern region. And option D, fresh water pipe repair work is happening in Block A, which is situated in the eastern region. So here we have these four statements, and you can say combinations, and you have to tell which must be true. So option B is the correct response. From the information given, we can deduce that the fiber optic cable repair work is situated in the southern region. A cannot be correct, as we are already told that the sewage pipe problem is in Block B. C cannot be correct, as we are told that Block C is present in the eastern region, and using the same information, D cannot be correct. Using the information, the following can be worked out for further clarification. Block repair work region. So A1 having freshwater pipes in the northern region, Block B having sewage pipe in the western region, Block C having electrical wiring in the eastern region, and Block D having fiber optic cables in the southern region. So B is the answer, that fiber optic cable work is happening in Block D, which is situated in the southern region. So we have the correct option is option B. We will continue our next questions in the next videos. If you guys have any confusion, you can ask me in the comment section. I'll be back with another video to continue our next questions. Till then, just take care and goodbye.